One of the books I wanted to talk about was obviously The Tale of One Bad Rat, which is, it's been hailed as a very different type of comic and stuff. And what was really the genesis for that?
Originally I wanted to do a story with the setting of the English Lake District, which is somewhere I know very well, and I didn't. I mean, for those who don't know, it's about the psychological after effects of child sexual abuse. Well, I didn't actually start with that in mind. Basically, I was thinking what I could do set in the Lake District, and I visited Beatrix Potter's house one day, which you still go to there. She died in 1943. The house is still there, like she left it, and I thought, well, perhaps this is a way in. Because she told stories using words and pictures, which is what I do. And I thought, that's a way in. So I started research. I didn't know anything about Potter. I never used to read when I was little. So I started researching Beatrix Potter. I read a dozen books on her. By the time I'd finished that, I sort of realised that she lived a life that was quite, a bit dull for a graphic novel. I know there's a recent movie called Miss Potter that came out, and they managed to make that interesting by just making things up. They just invented stuff that she never did, whatever. But so I stopped thinking about the Beatrix Potter thing, and then one day I was in London, and I was on the tube here in Tottenham Court Road tube station, and I saw this 16-year-old girl begging, and there was this big Jesus freak with Jesus Loves You badges all over him, and he was trying to get her to go to a hostel or something like that, and she looked so embarrassed, like she wanted to crawl into a hole and die, she was like this. And thinking about it afterwards, it just put me in mind of descriptions of Beatrix Potter when she was 16. She was described as being painfully shy. And there's no evidence that she was sexually abused, but she was certainly psychologically abused by her parents. She was kept a virtual prisoner in this, what she called a dark Victorian mausoleum, on the top floor. And her only friends were these little animals she's managed to smuggle in to the place, and she made up stories about them. And I thought, well, what about this girl? She's run away from home, and she has some sort of synchronistic link with Beatrix Potter, which leads her to follow Potter's footsteps to the Lake District and, escape from this situation. And I thought, why is she? I started making notes on it. I thought, why is she run away from home? I just put down, her father's been abusing her. I thought that was fair enough because it was very glib, but it is a reason a lot of kids run away from home. So then I had to start researching child abuse and the psychological after effects of it. And I read books and that. I talked to people who've been abused, because it's amazing. As soon as I mentioned I was doing something that had child abuse, the number of people I've known for years, some of them, they said, oh, I was abused. Never knew, and I'd talked to them about it. And particularly good was I came across a book in the library of transcripts of child sexual abuse survivors talking. And that formed a lot of Helen's dialogue. It was even, because these phrases they use come up again and again and again. So I put a lot of these phrases in Helen's mouth, or paraphrased them, whatever. So I ended up doing a book about, a very positive book, about getting over the after effects. What I did was basically I took what I learned from the psychology books, which is, to recover from it takes years, but for dramatic purposes I collapsed it into about 6 months.
Over the years, working as a comics artist and writer, is it hard to sort of balance that with family life and with home life? And that sort of
it was, especially when I was working for 2000, which is working to sort of weekly deadlines and working till 2 in the morning. And so I'd been there, the kids grew up with me just working at the drawing board most of the time. I did find time at one, for a few years, to read to them at bedtime and go up and sit with them before they went to sleep, and read to most of Lord of the Rings, I think, one point.
So, I mean, is it something that, is it difficult when you're sort of in that artistic zone to sort of break out of that sometimes and
No, not really, because it's sort of in your head all the time. It's if that's what you're doing, you're making stories up, you're reading, it's in your head all the time.
Have your children ever influenced your work?
I don't know as such. I mean, I've actually drawn them in panels before. With Bad Rat, actually, Alwyn, my youngest one, he actually posed for as Helen. He'd sit down and beg, whatever, and I'd just sketch him and then draw Helen's face on the front.
So it's sort of like a transsexual operation kind of thing on your own now, yeah. And finally, just do you have any good advice for dads in general, or is there anything that you think that you learned?
Yeah, I did spend time with them and talk to them a lot, which is something I did a bit late after the 2000 AD thing finished. I had a bit more time in my hands, so I've always been very close with my kids, and I mean, they've never called us mum and dad. Never. I mean, they've always called us Mary and Brian. And I mean, Robin now, the eldest, he's got 2 daughters, so I've got 2 granddaughters now. And I said to Robin, "Oh, they're going to be calling me Brian, aren't they? Not Grandad." He said, "Oh no, you're going to be Grandad." Like, you bugger.